like silly little like kids like wandering off for a second, and then some of them are like crazier. But this is a different like forum from some of the ones that I was reading. I've already filmed this, and then I thought I was recording, and the dogs were barking, and the bunny. I don't know if any of you have bunnies, but like spring fever is real when their testosterone gets high and they're bored easy. No matter how much time I spend with him and play with him, I feel like he's still bored. And so he's like chewing on everything, and he wants attention, like 24/7. He can jump so crazy high. This desk that I'm filming with is probably about like 3 feet high, I would say, and he jumps on it and gets into everything. So thank God he didn't shoot through the cords of this mic, because I wasn't even thinking. He never has jumped up here before, but he did. I don't know. But anyways, I'm just using natural light to film with today because it's such a beautiful day. And I want to get into this because I have to go to my son's. Both of them have baseball practice, so I'm excited. Anyways, so this is the first one. I've been scrolling for a while, but I had a 12-day period of dissociative amnesia when I was in USAF. I was doing laundry one Sunday night while waiting to start extra cleaning duty. I woke up 12 days later to my supervisor shaking me awake in my dorm room. No one saw me for those 12 days, and no one heard from me. I was not a recluse. I was extremely outgoing and easily noticed. How I managed for 12 days is amazing. And then they edited it and said, this is to not have to reply to everyone. I was considered AWOL. Got an Article 15 out of it, was medically separated with a $25,000 severance, and told by the CAF psychiatrist that I was useless. I couldn't explain it, and through every pill I was prescribed in some therapy, they couldn't unlock my brain. It said that it does not happen to people who are in their older 20s, but it did happen to the ones. My brain scan showed that the hole everyone has is larger in yours, kind of thing. They never looked into it, as I really don't want to know if I went to France and killed people, or I just effed off for 2 weeks. I had no reason to desert. I was in for over 6 years at that point. I'd been to PSAP, Saudi, North Korea, South Korea, France, Spain, and was in Germany at the time. That's crazy. That's really crazy. My high school American football team had an away game in what somewhat sketchy city. Our bus took the team back to high school afterwards. I was too young to drive and was grounded and had my phone taken away. I waited at the school for an hour and a half, but my parents never came to pick me up, so I started the 4-mile walk back to my house carrying all of my bags and school books. While I was walking back, my mom showed up and I wasn't there. She panicked and found the coach and told him. My coach sent a group text to the entire team asking if anyone knew where I was. Came to the school the next day and everyone thought I missed the bus and had gotten lost. It ended up being a team joke for the rest of the year. My parents never took my phone away again. I went sleepwalking one night when I was 10 years old, unlocked the front door and went for a stroll through the neighborhood. I woke up in a few hours in the middle of the street, barefoot in a cul-de-sac I'd never been in before. Scared the bejesus out of me. Ended up running through the streets until I found my way back home. My parents had been shitting bricks looking all over for me. They put a lock on my door after that so I couldn't go for any more midnight strolls. My little boy sleepwalks, and he wasn't a good sleeper, so they recommended melatonin, and So, plus when my little boy was like 2, he started, well, probably like 1.5, he learned to unlock the doors and started to try to get out. We moved to this new neighborhood, and it's like a cul-de-sac. It's like, and like we're at the end of the cul-de-sac, so it's not like I was afraid of like traffic or anything, but still I was afraid that he would get out. And there is like a main highway not that far, and still like you can't trust people. I've watched enough true crime to know that no matter if you live in a nice neighborhood, a sketchy neighborhood, you really can't trust people. And honestly, some of the people that you think are quote-unquote sketchy end up being the nicest people ever. That Jonesy boy. So, and some people that are like live in fancier houses are assholes. So, you just never know. Once, when my grandfather was watching my younger sister and I decided to take a shower and didn't think to tell anyone because I was just taking a shower. I took my leisurely shower, and when I came out, no one was in the house. I went outside to see if maybe they were out there. It was summer, so reasonable to spend the evening in the yard. It turned out my grandfather and sister had alerted the neighbors that I had gone missing, and my entire neighborhood was out looking for me. It wasn't even that long of a shower. Well, at least people cared. I'm like that. I freak out if I can't find my kids in like 0.2 seconds. I freak out. I'm like, they have to be in eyesight of me at all times. Jonesy, stop. Oh, goodness sakes. 1999 in Germany. I'm hoping that you guys can hear me good still. In Germany, at the time, was like, "Where the F were you? I was about to tell someone you were missing." I'm not sure if I'm glad he didn't tell anyone I was missing or pissed that he didn't. We're still best friends now, though, 15 years later. Oh my gosh, that's like my worst nightmare. That sounds horrible, but I would never go anywhere without knowing the language or learning like quite a bit of it. I was at a college house party. Sorry, my stomach is growling. It's so loud. I was at a college house party. I went there with several friends. I didn't have a cell phone yet. Managed to hold out until 2004. Our dorm rooms came with landlines at the time. I ended up going home with a guy and hooking up with him. I woke up the next day, checked my email on his computer, and found a ton of frantic emails from my friends. They actually thought that I'd been abducted, roofied, or hurt myself. I was very depressed at the time. They filed a missing person report on me with campus security, and several friends were searching for me in the woods. My friends thought that I was more than likely kidnapped. That's scary. I drank too much, left my buddy's house to get my phone out of his car, and I woke up several hours later with about 5 cops standing on me, yelling for me to quit resisting. Turns out I'd wandered through 2 gates, a front porch, and into my neighbor's basement. Where the cops showed up, I was snuggling with his neighbor's 2 Rottweilers on their basement floor. They said I was lucky they didn't eat me. I was also lucky I didn't get shot. This took place in a small town near East St. Louis, pretty rough neighborhood. I was arrested for felony breaking and entering. Luckily, the cops ended up being cool and understanding. My buddy's elderly neighbors were just freaked out by a drunk, naked white guy sleeping with their dogs in the basement. My buddies had no idea where I was until the next afternoon when I called him from jail. Luckily, he was a really good dude and bailed me out. All the charges were dropped. When I walked up to the attorney and judge at the court, they all pretty much made fun of me and asked if I had learned my lesson. My friend and I were 15 at the time. We were both drugged and taken various places within the state for 3 days. During this time, we were constantly separated, reunited, drugged, emotionally, physically abused, and honestly feared what would end up happening. For 3 days, we were constantly on the move. We never visited any homes. They made us sleep in wooded areas with thin blankets, separated from each other. This was during the winter, although there was no snow yet. The man, it sounds strange calling him a man, that I was with was nicer than the other ones. He seemed to be a follower. He never did anything as cruel as the others did. But to this day, I can't stand certain names, accents, clothing, looks in general. When I say he was nicer, it's because he was rather gentle instead of forceful. On the 3rd day, they took us to a town about 40 miles south of our home in the middle of frankly nowhere. It's a town with 1 gas station and a few homes. They left us on a mountainside, told us the common she said she answered some questions. They ended up taking her from the local mall. They offered them dinner from a local truck stop that was out of their town. They had cheap food and pretty good food at that. After dinner, we drove around for a bit, believing that they were going to be taking us home. That's crazy. They were 18 and 19. It's so scary. It could have been so much worse. I mean, it's horrible, but it could have ended them dead. That's really crazy and deep. I'll just read one more, and then I will go and let you guys relax. I hope this was relaxing. It's more of a mic test. I hope this sounds good. You guys can let me know. I know I had some complaints about the sounds. I hope the dogs are being crazy. They're as loud. I'm trying. Let's see. I had a similar thing happen. We were in Alaska on vacation when I was 10. We were out in a little peninsula fishing. I wandered a little ways off collecting seashells. My family all loaded up into the truck and drove the 45 minutes back to camp. We had a camper on the back of the truck, and the kids would climb into the back of it while the adults rode in the front of the truck. All the adults thought that I was with the kids in the back, and the kids thought I was with the adults in the front. I wandered back to the road and started walking down it towards camp, but it was a 45-minute drive. I was pissed as much as anything. My dad, uncle, and mom pulled up and started apologizing. I think my mom may have cried a little. They said they got back to camp and realized they left me. I was on my own for about 2 hours, but it was scary because they had left and I had no idea if they were coming back or when. Oh my gosh, that's terrifying, especially in Alaska, because there's so many, I've never been, but I've watched documentaries of Alaska, and there's so many, wild animals, and it's cold, and it's darker sometimes, and lighter sometimes. I don't know. That would scare me to death. That's my worst fear. I've never been had any missing stories. I've done some stupid things. I did have someone try to take me from a Taco Bell when I was about 6. I was just trying to get my chalupa, and my dad was getting the drinks. It was the old 90s, well, at this point it was probably the early 2000s, very early. I think it had to have been just 99 to 2000, around then. So the old school Taco Bell where you went around and had to get your drink, and it was I don't know, I haven't been in a Taco Bell in so long. I've just been in the drive-thru. But my dad, we had a booth, and this guy stopped me and said that he had puppies in his car, and I was obsessed with dogs and cats, and what 6-year-old isn't, but I still am. And he was if you want to come see them. So I started to go, and my dad was very he kept a close eye on me, so I'm even surprised that man got close enough to even talk to me. But my dad immediately saw and went and got me, and but I was walking out the door, and so then my dad really, really, really made me stranger danger. He talked to me of serious talk, because I think he had been trying to keep me more naive to the harsh realities of sorry, I keep saying of the world, and just how evil people are. But he started telling me and showing me kids get kidnapped, and he showed me the wall at Walmart where there's so many kids, and I was terrified after that. It really stuck with me. I think that's why that I really am passionate about true crime and victim justice and stuff. But my brother was also a lawyer, situation. I feel like he should be, but when it comes to his babies, he's like he's more like Mama Bear than my mom. He goes like the male version of Karen when it comes to his